Figured I'd do a quick video here on replacing the parking brake on these Volvo wheel loaders. Uh, Pretty much the same thing for 150 through the 250 series wheel loaders. I got to looking online and I couldn't find really an info on it. I did one of these about 10 years ago, but looking to refresh my memory since it's been so long. So I decided to start a video here. Basically, the parking brake is underneath that cover. All those perimeter bolts there. Obviously take the drive shaft off first. The yoke is retained by these three Allen heads. See the hydraulic hose draining out there, that goes to the fitting back here. That's what engages the parking brake. With the engine running, you release the brake, it applies oil to a piston and in turn compresses some springs and releases your parking brake. But anyway, here's where I'm at on it. I've got all the perimeter bolts out, and I'll bring you back when I got this housing peeled out of there. Got to drain the tranny fluid out of it, obviously. Have 3 buckets ready. The first 2 fill really fast, so look alive. And probably, I don't know, 12, 13 gallons in there, something like that. You see there's the parking brake actuator line draining out there yet. Yeah, I'll bring you back when I've got it apart. Okay, so I got the cover off. If you didn't know how to release the brake on these things, if you've got a machine that won't start or whatever, there's 3, they look like pipe plugs in the cover here. You take those plugs out, and in the toolbox there should be 3 M10 bolts. You screw them in there and it compresses the springs and lets go of the brake. They're the same thread as what these cover bolts are, so what I did was, before I busted the seal on that, those bolts are a bit longer, so I started them one on each side so the thing wouldn't jump off of there on me and fall on the floor or whatever. But I broke the seal and a whole bunch more fluid drained out of here, and it looks like now I've got to pull this bearing off the center shaft. I think I'm going to take some bolts and bottom them out on this housing, because I don't want that thing to come out of there. This is the piston here. If I can get that piston out, I should be able to change those friction plates for the brake. We should be good to go. Okay, we're in. That bearing came off pretty easily. You can see our frictions and steels in there. I just used that cheap 2-jaw puller to pull that bearing off. It came off no problem. Here's the piston. Took up my cover bolts there and got my pry bar in there and pried her out a little bit. And then I was able to get this little bugger up in behind once I got some little bit of room to work, and popped it right out of there. We'll get the rest of it out of there and come back. I got a few of these clutch plates out. The first couple don't look too bad. You can see there's some hot spots on them. We get in there further and further. That one doesn't have any friction material left on it. The steel is cracked. And then we get this. I'd say the customer got really lucky, because you can see there's a half of a friction disc stuck in there yet. For some reason it split right in half. If it would have, I'm sorry, off center, if it split right in half, this plate could have fucked off out of here and really made a mess of all this in here. So, yep, your parking brake quits working, fix it. Alright, we got all our discs out. Several broken ones, a bunch of cracked ones. Yeah, you get the idea. So what it looks like with all the discs removed. Got all my new parts laid out here. Customer supplied everything. Looks like the Volvo parts department was really doing their job trying to sell some parts, because there's a bunch of stuff here that I don't need, but yeah, they can return that stuff. But anyways, everything I do have apart, I'm going to replace. I'm in here, may as well do it. Yeah. It's funny, those don't look red to my eye, but the camera seems to pick it up. The old Volvo wheel loader race shop. Anyway, I'm going to get stacking this back together and see what happens. Got all my new discs stacked in there. Brand new bearing on there. I simply put that in my hot parts washer, and that was enough heat to just get her to slide on by hand. Now in hindsight, I probably should have used those bolts, the brake release bolts, to keep all these springs in there while I took it apart, but it's kind of awkward to get in there, and makes assembly pretty heavy. So to do it again, I would probably do it the same way. But going back together now, flip this over on here, you can see I got the plugs out, and those thread into the piston that'll hold these springs all in place while I put the assembly back up in there. Still got to put my new race in and a seal. I got her back in there. I wasn't able to bring it through the center here. I wasn't able to get it down underneath this hose and pick back up. I wasn't quite man enough. So I just jumped on the creeper and laid it on my chest, and I was able to bench press it up in there. I went in there pretty easily, actually. There's that pin in the bottom that aligns the clutch plates. That dowels into this cover, so that keeps you lined up. Got my 3 brake release bolts out. And now just put the yoke back on in the drive shaft. And I've got to get in the training yet. By the drain plug there is a screen down there I wanted to check. Make sure there's no trash in it from those plates burning up, and we'll be good to go here. Well, there we are, we're all back together. Hopefully this helps somebody out. Save some money instead of taking it into the dealership or having service come out and fix it. It's not that hard of a job. Now to chase this oil leak up in here that's been leaking forever, looks like. Thanks for watching.